Welcome to Beyond the Surface. With me, Debbie Anne Turnbull. Here we dive deeper than the obvious to explore what really keeps our families safe and our minds strong. After losing my only son Chris to drowning, I've dedicated my life to water safety education and helping others heal. With many years of training and personal experience, I'm here to help you navigate your challenges, because the most important truths are found beyond the surface. So today, I'd like to introduce Jenni Dunman. Now, I have known Jenni for many years. To me, she's an astute businesswoman. She has an amazing franchise organisation and other businesses as well. But Jenni herself supports so many people like me that you really don't know about, because Jenni is really special. She came from a police background as a detective, which Jenni will explain to us. From that to a traumatic situation that has really changed her life. So Jenni, nice to see you. It's brilliant to see you and spend this time with you. And I'd like to kind of open this with asking you about your catalyst moment. So can we start with where the moment changed everything, and tell me about saving your friend's daughter from choking?
Yeah, well, it's lovely to be here. So thank you for having me. So yes, I was in the Metropolitan Police for 14 years. I was a detective sergeant in Westminster, and I was on a day off, and I think I had two children. Yes, I had two children at the time. I had one in the high chair. My friend and I went to Starbucks for a coffee. She had her baby in a high chair. I had my baby in the high chair. We gave them both half a cookie each, and we were having a chat. And at some point, we realized that her daughter was choking. And being trained as a police officer, you get trained regularly in first aid. So it's something very natural for me. It's something that I have done for years and years in real life and in practice. So for me, it was okay. For the mum herself, terrifying situation. And she froze and she didn't know what to do. But fortunately, I was there, so I was able to pick the child up and do the back blows on the child to release the cookie. And it's a really happy story because she was absolutely fine and she made a full recovery, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief in the coffee shop. But it did make me think, wow, why don't parents know first aid? Because when I had my children, you go to antenatal class and you learn all the great things there. And then you go to all these beautiful children's classes, you know, the baby ballets and the swimming and all the play groups, all the gorgeous stuff. But there was nothing that, well, if your child stops breathing, what do you do? If your child chokes, what do you do? Has a seizure? So using the skills that I had in the police, I said to my husband, well, look, I'm going to teach the local mums. So it was very old school back in the day, just put a message out on Facebook, hired my local pavilion, put a message out and said, look, bring your babies. I will be here for 2 hours and I will teach you the basics. Nothing, too overcomplicated. Just if your baby chokes, this is what you do. So I have no money. So I just put I put the mannequins on a credit card and
You do.
that's really just how it started. I only had two people that they paid £25 to come to that class, and then I had seven of my friends just come and make it look busy. But I was over the moon because I'd spent, I'd earned £50, but I knew that I was onto something. I knew that parents really needed to know this stuff.
Yeah, and it's the same as me, isn't it, with my experience as well. And so kind of from there, Jenni, you've now got the most incredible franchise business. Tell us a little bit more about how you set that up.
So After
Mm.
that first class, I started getting regular bookings and I was going into people's homes with their grandparents and their in pregnancy. And I was getting busier and busier, which was great because I was on statutory maternity pay at the time and it was just rubbish. And, we were struggling for money. So it was really good for me. And it got busier and busier. And I was then stretching myself further and further away from home. And I thought, this is good, but I want to be there for my children. That's kind of the point. So I looked at different ways that I could shape the business, whether I could start employing people, bring in trainers, and as someone that's never run a business in their life, this was completely new to me. I was like, Google everything. And it was whilst doing that I stumbled across the franchise method, but for massive brands like McDonald's and Domino's Pizza and massive ones. But I was like, but that method could still work for me, just on a much smaller scale. I could teach people like me to teach my classes in their areas, so they're earning an income, working around their children, and I can manage it. So it really did start very small. My first two franchisees were both female police officers that were in exactly the same position as me. And one of them is still with me now, which is, I think, nearly coming up 12 years now. But it just snowballed. And I was ticking two boxes, two pain points was I want to be around for my children. I want a flexible business that I can fit around them. And I want to do something meaningful. And I want something profitable. So three things.
And it's incredible what you've achieved, Jenny. Can you explain to people who may not understand, please, the metrics of the franchise model?
Yeah, of course. So
Mm.
Daily First Aid is the brand. So we have all the training, we have all the support. We don't just have the first aid training, we have the marketing training. So everything that you would need to run a business, we teach. So even if you've never run one before, we're there to support you. And then you go out as a self-employed individual and deliver the classes. It's your own business. You can scale it up as much as you want to. You can pick the days that you want to work. And you have the support of the head office here, which is now much more than just me. It was me for a long time. So I think we've got now 115, 116 franchise territories across the UK, all run by just brilliant, fantastic, kind people that just they want that meaningful role that you and I want. They have a life purpose to save lives just like we do, and it just shines through from them. It really does. And
Is it? It's incredible when you find, well, for me it is, when you find people on that same wavelength as you. And I've just had another conversation today, and we were talking about values, and I'm sure it's the same with you. But I used to actually teach values, and I remember doing a talk at a network meeting, and I actually was talking about values, and it was one of those big professional networks with a lot of men in it. And I could see they weren't really taking any notice. So I actually picked one gentleman to reply. And you know what? He had not a flipping clue what values were. So, Jenny, would you tell me some of your values based on your experience and where you are now?
okay, I think I've learned a lot in my own world and the things that I've been through in my job as a police officer and in my role as a franchisor. I've learned so much, but mostly about people. I think values for me is um, kindness is non-negotiable. There's no excuse for not being kind. And I generally really analyze people's behavior when they don't act in the way that I think they should. Or that's probably
Mm.
not the right way of saying it, but the way that, out of character perhaps, or just different. And I really want to know why people behave the way they do. And there's always an underlying unhappy reason
Yeah.
why. When you've got someone that's got that road rage, or just, we come across people all the time, or the people that just have nothing nice to say. there's always a core reason why they behave like that. And that's what fascinates me. So I'm never quick to judge. I'm
Mm,
never quick to judge and label someone as mean or horrible or cruel because I want to know why. And I think that's probably like a part nosiness and a part detective and
mm,
a part really caring actually that I understand these people. And I think I had it with criminals, you know, every criminal I met had a reason why they behaved that way. I'm trying to think if I've ever come across someone that I honestly think was just rotten to the core, and I don't think I've ever met one.
I have, sadly.
Have you? Yeah. And they're absolutely out there, but I think they're fewer and far between than we think.
Mm.
Yeah, I hope I never meet one.
They are just my own personal experiences, which you obviously know. But I mean, I've had to kind of train in as you have as well in trauma and narcissistic abuse and all that kind of thing to actually get me to where I am today. And I have learned so much. And I think the more we understand about ourselves, we can understand more about other people. I feel really strongly about that, and I'm sure you would agree, Jenny.
Absolutely. I think if everyone can be a bit more emotionally intelligent is probably the word.
Yeah.
And the world would be a lot nicer place. It really, really would. And I think that's why I went on and did the counselling courses because I just have this undeniable need to understand the way the brain works. I'm obsessed with it. I love
I am.
psychology. I love spirituality. I love understanding other people's faiths and religions. I'm just a very nosy person, Debbie.
Yeah, well, me too. And tell me, how does your spirituality support you, Jenny? What are your thoughts? What are your experiences, the ones that you want to talk about? Just tell me what is your spirituality bubble? Tell me that.
I actually didn't know until I was in my 20s that other people couldn't feel other people's emotions. I just assumed that everybody had that. And it really wasn't until much later that I realized that I was actually in the minority. So
Mhm.
I suppose having I think people call it an empath, but it's like a physical um I'll give you an example. If I'm on a tube and there's lots of people, I find it incredibly overwhelming because I feel
Yeah.
so many different people's feelings, thoughts, emotions, and I've learnt now to manage it. But I used to find it really hard work commuting to work. But I think I'm trying to think of a poignant one. Okay, I was in the pub with my husband and we were on a date, and there was a guy sitting at the bar, and I could feel I could just feel his pain. It was so strong, so strong. And I said to Chris, I need to, I think I need to go and speak to him. And he was like, why? And I said, I just don't know. I said, but I've got this overwhelming need. I feel a bit emotional now, but
I've done that.
yeah.
Mm.
And I just went over and I can't even, to be honest, I can't even remember what I said. I think I went up to the bar and was like pretending that I was ordering a drink and then just started conversation with him. And then he just grabbed my hand and he went, I haven't spoke to anyone all day. And he just gripped my hand and his eyes welled up. And I just thought, do you know what? Even if I've changed his day for a minute,
Mm.
I don't know what was going on in his life, couldn't tell you, but oh, the way he held onto my hand, I was like, oh, this is something more. And I think you're really blessed. And I know, Debbie, you've got a very similar sort of thoughts and feelings around spirituality, but I do think it's a gift to be able to read, to be
Yeah.
able to read people.
I do. Honestly, I not well, less than a week ago, I was in Costa Coffee having a coffee, and there was a young mum there with two children and then one in a pushchair. And I think she was talking to maybe some kind of support worker. And I could hear everything she was saying because she was very explicit. and I could feel it comes from my tummy, doesn't it? Right from in here. And I could feel all these feelings welling up, and I could hear everything she was saying, but more than what the words were. And I'm sure you understand that. And I was absolutely compelled, and then I started packing up, and I thought, do I, don't I? Because she was really empowered with what she was saying, and I was worried that she might turn and not like it. And I just caught her eye and smiled at her. And then I did. I got up and just like made me walk out the same time. And I just touched her on the shoulder and I said, I just said hello. And I said, I'm getting emotional now. Oh God. I just said, you know, everything's going to be all right, don't you? And she said, really? How do you know that? I said, I just know. You carry on being an amazing mum and everything will be fine. And she just went, oh, thank you. And then she went running off to the guy, you know, that she'd been tap, tap, and she was pointing, and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? You know, but it works, doesn't it? It just works.
Yeah, and I think little things, they don't always have to be like big grand gestures.
Yeah, no,
I think just a little bit of kindness every day.
yeah,
I see this to my children as well, like just be kind. You don't have to, buy someone something or
yeah,
do anything grand, but just be nice. And
yeah.
actually, you know what? If you see someone sitting on their own or, standing by themselves, just go and speak to them. Like you don't know how much that could make someone's day.
I
I,
know.
I really, I go through motions as I'm sure you do as well. Like every day, what have I done today to make the world a better place?
Yeah, I always do. At the end of every day, before I even attempt to go to sleep, it's what I do. Mm.
Yeah, it's gratitude. Gratitude is a huge part of my life. And I think because I've been practicing for it's 20 years now, it's so normal and natural for me. I believe highly in manifestation, but I think it's psychology as well. The way that I behave changed in my 20s, and because my mindset changed and the way that I behave changed, my whole world changed. And
Yes,
so I
yes.
believe in that very, very highly. I almost have like a step-by-step guide to to living my life that I follow in order to have a happy life. Because at the end of my time, I want to look back and be like, I think I did all right. I'd like to think I did some good, and I think
I can tell you you did.
I'm
Yeah,
I think I've been put on this earth to live a life of service. I
yeah,
do genuinely believe that.
I do.
Um, I think I'm one of life's helpers.
Mm.
That's what I want to be. That's what I strive to be.
Yeah.
Um, we get better and better as we go along. I make mistakes, of course, but
Mm.
I try my best.
Jenny, going back to Daisy now, because I wanted people to see Jenny, not the businesswoman first, businesswoman second now. So how do you implement all that into creating what is amazing about Daisy? And why the name?
Okay, so the name is my daughter is Daisy, but also the Oopsadaisy because the idea around the business in the beginning was to teach parents first aid for their children. So Oopsadaisy felt like a really light-hearted way of calling it, which is why we're a blue color, we're not a green color or a red color or anything that's more sort of emergency service color. So that's why we went for kind of a cyan blue, because the whole ethos behind it is we're not here to frighten you.
Mm.
We'll never tell you any scary stories. We'll never show you gory pictures. We want you to leave the class going, oh my God, I'm so glad I know that. I feel much more confident now. And I think because that's the way that I teach my franchisees to deliver it, and my master trainers teach, we naturally attract those type of people into the business.
Yeah.
So I think, because people have either come to the class and they loved it, they want to be part of it, or they've seen what the business is about. So we're really, really lucky and kind of, that we attract kind, helpful people that want to do good. So we're lucky that, everyone in the in the company are just fabulous.
Yeah, they are. And I've met so many of them. Obviously, I've done a couple of things with you in the past. And Jenny, can you tell us about scaling? Because there are so many people I see these days that everybody's talking about scaling. And sometimes, from my opinion, I don't think it's understood properly. I think people are kind of looking to jump over the moon and find that big yellow golden pot at the end of the rainbow. What does it mean to you in a more proper static business sense? What is scaling
Yeah.
to you?
I think scaling is important. It is an important subject to talk about because quite often when I go to events, people will be like, "Oh, I'd love to be like you," or how did you do it? But you forget that I started with just me and a couple of mannequins, and I've done this incrementally. I haven't just gone just me 115, I haven't done that leap like that. All the graph that's gone in between that, all the highs, the lows, the in-betweens, the work. When people talk about scale and they go, yeah, just scale, it isn't that. It's not from here to here. It's da 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 da. It's like an accordion.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah,
It is. It's up, down. And it's not for everybody either. And I don't feel like people should feel pressured into scaling if they're at a position where they've got a lovely business that brings them happiness, that brings them enough of what they need to, have a happy life. I love scaling because I enjoy it. However, I say no to just as many potential franchisees as I say yes to. It's not about numbers, it's about getting the right people in. So,
absolutely.
if I didn't have the ethics that I have, I would just go, yeah,
Mm.
everyone. But then we wouldn't have 10,000 five-star reviews because we wouldn't have the right people in. So scaling for me is very measured, and it's much more important that we get the right people in. But just a baby step in the right direction without getting too overwhelmed by I want to be there.
Mm.
Just say today I want to be there.
Yeah,
Because eventually you'll get there, and there'll
yeah,
be jumps and drops and jumps, snakes and ladders. But I think people get overwhelmed.
I do.
Do you?
Everywhere it's like, oh, you've got to scale, and everybody's teaching about scaling. And I got to a point where I was thinking, well, if my business is little me, and I think I've gone a long way from losing my child to kind of where I am today. But I would like to scale in different ways. And that's why I'm kind of going down the mental health route, because it's equally as passionate to me. So I'm hoping that's going to take on a new trajectory, which I'm really excited about. Um, but Jenny, you really keep your staff as well, don't you? You keep your franchisees. They don't come and go a lot or anything like that, which you really care, and you nurture and you treasure them, and that shows so much when I've met them, and they're all, I speak to some of them now, they message me. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I think retention is amazing, and
Mm.
life changes. We've had franchisees that have had different life circumstances and they've moved on or they've sold and that's, the natural progression of life. And it's
Mm.
wonderful when we've got, the longevity of staff and trainers, which we have, and we're really fortunate to have that. I think not losing the fact that we're all human. I don't know about you, but I'm all for AI, and I actually think AI is brilliant for lots of reasons. But I do worry that human connection is getting lost a little bit. And like it's brilliant, like we're online now, but I'd love to give you a hug in real life.
Yeah, me as well. Yeah.
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 So I
Mm.
do feel that looking after staff is really important, but looking after them as a human being, not just as a franchisee or a employee, um, is really, really important. Well, it's important for everybody, but that's, I think, why our retention is so good.
And I love I just love how it's so easy for people to learn the way you've structured everything as well, because I think that's important, because obviously there's so many learning styles as well. And I just think you've got that really right. And that's took a lot of work and development, I'm sure.
If I'm completely honest, I because I was very used to having big caseloads. So I worked in the sexual offences unit.
Wow.
We'd be taking cases to trial, a huge amount of work. So it's always been very ingrained in my mind to simplify. Everything I do is simplified. So I don't like busy. I don't like a busy inbox. I don't like busy spreadsheets. I don't like anything busy. It's just not, I have to have a very clean and tidy workspace. So everything in my mind has to be simple. So I think that's where it's come from. I think the lesson plans need to be simple. The business structure needs to be simple so that anybody can pick it up and anybody can learn how to do it. And I think, yeah, a tidy mind is probably the reason why I do that. And I don't like overcomplicating things, and I don't like a huge amount of waffle and corporate jargon and all that. I'm not here for it.
No, it's brilliant, Jenny. And just kind of coming to the end now, what's new for Jenny? Because I've seen a couple of new things that I
Yeah.
really like.
So I think I've launched a private membership for successful CEOs. The reason why I've done that is a very small selective group of people that I'm going to bring in. The reason why I've done it is because I understand the burden of a CEO, that it's a really lonely place. So it can be, because you've got lots of people that are looking to you and going, what's the answer to this, Jen? What are we doing, Jen? And you're at the top and you're the one that's making the decisions, and decisions are never going to suit everybody. Not everybody's going to agree with you. You're always going to have to be that decision maker and the one that with the ideas and your creativity, and it can be a very lonely place. And the mistake I think I made in the early stages is I wore every hat. And that's fine because I didn't have the money to employ lots of people. And I think a lot of CEOs get stuck where they're still wearing a lot of hats. They're still being the decision maker. They're overwhelmed. They are not looking after themselves. And I think that's why I had to bring this membership in, because I've been through that journey myself. I know what it's like to burn out and to be, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize I'd forgotten myself,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
almost go back and being like, right, let's go back to square one. So the membership is there to support CEOs, to listen, to understand them, but also to remind them to look after their health and well-being and to put things in place that we're forcing them to relax. We're forcing them to look after themselves in the most beautiful way. Again, it's a passion project for me because I want to help people.
It looks beautiful. I love everything that you're doing. I love the way you're talking about it. It's brilliant. And what else, Jenny? Do you have any other partnerships?
No other partnerships at present. I think this year's been about keeping myself healthy. So I'm in the gym. I'm looking after my body. I'm putting good food in my body. I'm making sure that all my systems and process and everything are running. Yeah, so I think this year, 2026, will be another year of growth. But definitely 2025 was a year of health and well-being.
Reflection, I guess.
Yeah. But I feel very energized. I feel very motivated.
Okay, you look fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm excited about this year. Really excited.
And I'm looking forward to what we might do as well. Fingers
Definitely.
crossed. So, Jenny, thank you. It's been brilliant to hear from someone that is so successful, but also has that deep, deep, heartfelt sense of purpose. And finally, where do we find you, Jenny? Where do we find you? Everywhere.
I'm going to say down the gym.
Everywhere.
So you can find me either at daisyfirstaid.com, or you can find me if you want to email me personally. It's info@jennidunman.com.
That's absolutely wonderful. And thank you, Jenny. I've enjoyed every moment and I wish you every success.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Welcome to Beyond the Surface with me, Anne Turnbull. Here we dive deeper than the obvious to explore what really keeps our families safe and our minds strong. After losing my only son, Chris, to drowning, I've dedicated my life to water safety education and helping others heal. With many years of training and personal experience, I'm here to help you navigate your challenges, because the most important truths are found beyond the surface.